Chapter 4, Wild Child Sunflowers. Rain poured down on Wednesday when Zoe arrived at Auntie's. The kitchen smelled like chocolate chip cookies, and a glass of milk was already waiting on Zoe's placemat at the kitchen table. She hung up her raincoat, unzipped her backpack, and took out her blank plant journal before joining Auntie and her cookies at the table. She and Zoe each dunked a cookie in milk and ate in silence. "What are we doing today?" "It's raining," said Zoe. "Are you kidding me?" said Auntie. "Plants love rainy days, even if we don't. These are the best days to transplant because the rain keeps the baby plants from going into shock. But let's start with a bit of drying and see if the rain lets up." Zoe opened her journal, and like before, Auntie poured a little pile of seeds onto the left-hand side of her page. "Hey, those are sunflower seeds," said Zoe. She recognized them right away from her mom's bird feeder. She remembered last week's conversation about different varieties of poppies and said, "I'm guessing these aren't just any old sunflower seeds, right?" Auntie chuckled. "You know me too well, Zoe. You're right. This is my own variety that I call Wild Child." Drying sunflower seeds was more difficult than drying poppy seeds. Zoe was concentrating on capturing the details of the pointy oval shapes when she stopped drying and asked, "Does a giant sunflower plant really come out of this little seed?" Auntie nodded. "It's like magic. Every seed is a complete package. The baby plant inside is packed with enough food to feed it until it can survive on its own, which doesn't take very long. As soon as that seedling sprouts and unfolds its first pair of baby leaves, the plant can make its own food from sunlight and water. From then on, the plant's whole mission is to keep growing until it's ready to make seeds of its own. After making seeds, the plant usually, but not always, dies. Then the seed sprouts and life starts again. We call this the life cycle of the plant." Zoe picked up her pencil and wrote, "Life cycle of plants," across the top of her sunflower seed drawing. She wrote down the steps that Auntie had just outlined and drew arrows between them to help her remember. Auntie nodded at Zoe's diagram and continued, "This cycle repeats itself year after year, and plants have been doing this for tens of thousands of years. I think seeds are the plant's way of having hope for the future, which is probably why I like collecting them. As long as you have seeds, you have hope." Below the diagram, Zoe added another note. "Plants have hope. That's why they make seeds." She held up her journal and showed Auntie. "I love that," said Auntie. She added the line to her own journal. She reached for another cookie. "Now, here's an interesting thing. Plants have 3 different cycles for making seeds. Knowing the difference between these cycles is the first part of being a seed saver." Zoe wrote, 3 types of plant life cycles. "Okay," she said, "so what are the 3? I'm going to show them to you one at a time. We'll start with the sunflower, which is an annual. Annuals are fun because they are always in a hurry. Once they sprout in the springtime, they are racing to grow, flower, and make seeds before winter kills them. Since they only last one growing season, they get replanted every year, or annually." "What's a growing season? I thought there were only 4 seasons," said Zoe. Auntie nodded. "A growing season is measured by the number of days between the last frost in the spring to the first frost of autumn. Growing seasons vary from place to place. We have a 100-day growing season." Zoe picked up a sunflower and looked closer. "That's not very long." No, it's not, considering how much we depend on annuals to grow most of our food. She counted them off on her fingers. Tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squashes, beans, corn, to name a few. All annuals. Many of our favorite flowers are annuals as well, which is why gathering seeds and replanting annuals every year can take up a lot of a gardener's time. But if we didn't replant those seeds every year, we wouldn't have those foods or those flowers anymore, which is why learning to save seeds is so important. We want to make sure we can still grow our own food in the future. Zoe added to her journal entry, Plant Life Cycle 1, Annuals. Annuals go from seed to seed in one growing season. Annual seeds have to be saved and replanted every spring. She finished copying and swept the sunflower seeds onto her hand and returned them to the jar. Looking down into her hand, she said, I really do like seeds, Auntie. I'm glad, Zoe. Loving and caring for seeds is a good way to love and care for the earth. I'm glad you're thinking about becoming a seed saver. Zoe shifted in her chair. It seems like it would be hard to do. If you're already taking care of plants, it's easy to grow seeds. You have to learn some rules and stick to them, but the plants do most of the work. Zoe smiled, imagining plants doing work. I think I would like to learn how to be a seed saver. Then I will teach you, said her auntie. After snack, they pulled on raincoats and rubber boots and squished through the grass to the garden behind the barn. Several trays of tall, green sprouts stood next to a row of soil turned muddy from the rain. Zoe read, WC Sunflower, on the little sticks poking out of each tray. Hey, are these the same wild child sunflowers whose seeds we just drew? They are indeed, she said, pointing to the green sprouts. And to think, they were just seeds in a jar a couple of weeks ago. Now look at them, young plants ready to start a new life in the garden. It's kind of a miracle. Zoe took a trowel and a soup spoon out of the tool bucket and got to work. She carved a little hole in the mud, scooped the seedling out of the plastic tray with her spoon, and plopped it into the hole. She gently tucked the soil around the roots and let the rain wash into its new home. She measured for the next hole using the length of her trowel and soon found a rhythm to her planting. When all the trays were empty, a nice, neat row of sunflower seedlings waved to her in the soft rain. She smiled and waved her fingers back at them, feeling truly happy for the first time since she woke up to this rainy day. She was soaked to the skin, covered in mud, and knew she would have to sit on an old towel when her mom came to pick her up. She didn't even care. She discovered that a rainy day could be a good day if you were a plant or a gardener.